From Lagos, the nation's commercial capital, this is the news at 10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Ayotunde Balogun.
Hello and welcome tonight. All Progressives Congress unveils guidelines and committees for its 2026 presidential primaries, agrees to adopt direct primary mode. ADC presidential aspirant Mohammed Hayatuddin has warned the party against fielding an unpopular candidate for the 2027 general elections. Believes doing so may jeopardize the party's chances at the polls. Grief as family and colleagues gather in Oyo to pay last respect to school teacher killed by bandits. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reassures NATO allies following recent conflicting statements on U.S. troop deployments in Europe.
On business news, the cost of a healthy diet in Nigeria rises 12.4% year-on-year to 1,513 naira per adult as food inflation pressures persist.
On sports news, Pep Guardiola says he fears he would run out of the energy required to lead Man City after announcing his 10-year tenure as manager will come to an end.
And from the nation's capital, federal government launches a new set of medical equipment aimed at strengthening comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care services across Nigeria.
The All Progressives Congress APC has officially unveiled guidelines and committees for the conduct of its 2026 presidential primaries, adopting a direct primary mode that will allow all registered party members to participate in the exercise nationwide. In a document issued by its National Secretariat in Abuja, the party said the direct primary will hold across all the 8,809 wards in the country on May 24th this year. According to the APC, every registered member of the party will be eligible to vote for the presidential aspirant of their choice during the exercise. The party also disclosed that results from each ward will be collated at the local government level before being transmitted to the National Collation Center in Abuja. The document stated that the conduct of the primaries in the 36 states and the FCT will be supervised by designated state coordinators and collation officers appointed by the party leadership. It adds that the earlier guidelines on the procedure for the conduct of direct and consensus mode of primaries forwarded to INEC on May the 15th this year will also apply to the presidential exercise. A former Senate President, Senator Pius Anyim, was named chairman of the Presidential Primary Election Committee. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has continued its primary elections across several states, with party members in Yobe, Benue, Adamawa and Kogi participating in the exercise to produce the party's candidates for key elected positions. While former Secretary to the Yobe State Government, Baba Malam Wali, emerged winner of the APC governorship primary in Yobe, incumbent Governor Hyacinth Alia secured the party's ticket in Benue State, just as Tijani Galadima clinched the governorship ticket in Adamawa State. In Kogi East, party leaders have defended the outcome of the APC senatorial primary, insisting the process was credible and democratic.
The APC governorship primary in Yobe State saw party members across the 178 political wards participate in a peaceful exercise.
236,000.
Chairman of the APC Governorship Primary Election Committee and Minister of Housing announced that Baba Malam Wali polled 236,711 votes to defeat his closest rival, Abubakar Kagu, who scored 9,748 votes.
Dr. Abubakar Bukar Kagu received 9,748. 9,748.
In his acceptance speech, Baba Malam Wali thanked party members for their support and extended a hand of fellowship to other aspirants.
And therefore, in consideration of all these sacrifices, generous contributions, and massive trust in my capacity to fly the flag of the party in the 2027 government election, respectively submit my humble self to this clarion call to contest the office of the governor of our dear state on the platform of the office of the Congress.
In Benue State, Governor Aysen Alia emerged winner of the APC governorship primary after polling 367,786 votes to defeat other aspirants. Chairman of the Primary Election Committee, Professor Mohammed Isa, said the governor won overwhelmingly across the 23 local government areas of the state.
Dr. Reverend Father Aysen Alia, having satisfied the requirements of APC constitutions and guidelines and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner of the primary election.
Governor Alia, while accepting the party's mandate, commended members for embracing direct primaries and pledged to continue his administration's infrastructural development programs.
I accept your choice of me to come back again as your governor.
In Adamawa State, the APC National Elections Committee declared Tijani Ahmed Galadima winner of the party's governorship primary, following the collation of results from local government areas across the state. Chairman of the committee, Professor Innocent Bariko, announced the results in Yola, the state capital. Reacting to his victory, Tijani Galadima described the outcome as victory for progress and called on other aspirants to work for the success of the party in the 2027 general elections.
I extend my deepest appreciation to the father of our nation, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for his steadfast leadership and guidance, which serve as the guiding spirit for all of us. On your mandate, we shall stand, sir.
In Taraba State, Governor Abu Kefas has also been declared winner of the APC governorship primary election held in the state. He polled 166,357 votes to defeat his rival, Mohazu Jaji, the former Minister of State for Transport, who polled 4,110.
I humbly accept the confidence and trust reposed in me through this victory. This victory is not mine alone. It belongs to all of us.
Meanwhile, in Kogi East Senatorial District, leaders and stakeholders of the APC have defended the outcome of the party's senatorial primary election held on May 20th, describing the exercise as free, fair, and credible.
God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The group also commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the APC national leadership, former Governor Yahya Bello, and Governor Usman Ododo for ensuring what they described as a level playing field during the exercise. With the conclusion of the APC primaries in the affected states, attention now shifts to party reconciliation and consolidation efforts as the ruling party moves to strengthen internal cohesion ahead of the 2027 general elections.
Staying with the APC primaries and in Akwa Ibom, where Governor Umar Eno emerged in the race for the governorship ticket in the state. He polled 393,653 votes in the exercise. The governor was returned unopposed following the conclusion of the APC governorship primaries held across the 329 wards in the state. Now, speaking shortly after the declaration, Governor Eno expressed appreciation to party faithful and supporters for their confidence in his administration and leadership.
We remain dedicated to the completion of all projects in the 31 local government areas, spanning healthcare and education, as well as our Rise Compassionate Home initiative. We'll continue to expand on the payment of gratuities to our retirees, and I see that we can finish all of the backlog before the end of our first term in office. We have constructed or deployed the finisher's anointing in completing 1,300 kilometers of roads.
Meanwhile, in Cross River State, the APC has affirmed Governor Basi Otu as its sole governorship candidate ahead of the 2027 general elections. The endorsement was made during a high-level engagement attended by delegates drawn from political wards across the state, where party stakeholders unanimously expressed their support for a second-term bid for Governor Otu. In Enugu State, Governor Peter Mbah has urged residents to vote massively for the All Progressives Congress in the upcoming governorship election to sustain development and continuity in governance. Governor Mbah made the appeal after emerging as the sole APC governorship candidate at the party's primary election. He said a fresh 4-year mandate will allow his administration and the president to consolidate ongoing policies and complete key projects aimed at improving the welfare of the people.
We are building something that will stand or fall on the strength of our shared commitment of long term. And let us not deceive ourselves. This will not be easy. We are nowhere near the finish line. Every young person looking ahead to their future life is relying on us to follow through these promises. Mothers, fathers are watching the future of their children, praying that this time it will not be fake. We have a duty not to dash that hope, but to stand behind a vision that demands security and real choice for every young life. And if we hold the line, if we resist complacency, if we refuse to be pulled apart, then the strength of the vision will continue to unite us.
Still talking party politics, and this time to the African Democratic Congress, where a presidential aspirant of the party, Mr. Mohamed Hayatuddin, has cautioned the ADC against fielding an unpopular candidate for the 2027 election, maintaining that the party's choice of its candidate for the poll will show whether or not the ADC is serious about replacing the incumbent APC government or is just playing to the gallery. Mr. Hayatuddin, who was addressing youths of the African Democratic Congress at a forum in Abuja, appealed to the party's leadership to ensure that whatever mode of primaries they settle for, the most qualified and popular candidate is given the opportunity to fly the party's presidential flag. He told the gathering that so far he's the only presidential aspirant who has presented a credible blueprint on how to address issues of concerns to young Nigerians.
My dear youth, throughout this campaign, I've been the only aspirant consistently speaking about the actual issues facing young Nigerians. Jobs, the very high cost of living crisis, severe problems of insecurity, and the future. I say this with all humility, but also with conviction. I'm the only candidate in this race who has presented a credible and robust blueprint to tackle the job crisis, the insecurity, which taken together must be seen as interconnected. In just a few days, on the 25th of May, our party will make a crucial decision that is very important. The ADC will decide whether it is truly serious about winning, whether it is prepared to offer Nigerians a real alternative, and whether it is ready to present a candidate who understands the pain people are living through every single day of their lives.
Meanwhile, leaders of the African Democratic Congress has condemned an alleged denial of access to detained chieftain of the party, former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, at the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC. That's the headquarters. Now, the ADC leaders who had attempted the visit include the National Secretary, Rauf Aregbesola, National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, and the Secretary of the ADC Manifesto and Policy Committee, Malam Saliu Lukman. According to a statement by the ADC, the delegation was denied access to Mr. El-Rufai, whom they attempted to see amidst ongoing investigations and prosecution developments the party has consistently called a witch hunt. The party therefore demands that the ICPC immediately grant unrestricted access to the detained former Kaduna State Governor by his family, doctors, lawyers, and leaders of his political party. In part two, after the break, National Commission for Colleges of Education announces sweeping reforms to boost student admissions, says qualified colleges of education to award independent degrees. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. All Progressives Congress unveils guidelines and committees for its 2026 presidential primaries, agrees to adopt direct primary mode. ADC presidential aspirant Mohammed Hayatuddin has warned the party against fielding an unpopular candidate for next year's general election, believes doing so may jeopardize the party's chances at the polls. Grief as family and colleagues gather in Oyo State to pay last respect to a school teacher killed by bandits. And U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio reassures NATO allies following recent conflicting statements on U.S. troop deployments in Europe. Let's head to the courts now, where Justice Peter Lifo of the Federal High Court in Abuja has dismissed a lawsuit filed by Wuse Ward members of the African Democratic Congress seeking to bar Senator Ireti Kingibe from party activities. The plaintiffs had attempted to enforce the senator's alleged March 10th suspension, which was reportedly based on accusations of anti-party activities, gross misconduct, and interference with ward records. In his ruling, Justice Lifo struck out the case, declaring that the matter of internal party discipline is not a subject for judicial intervention. The court questioned the logic of the plaintiffs, noting that it should be the suspended individuals seeking legal redress if they felt aggrieved, rather than those who initiated the disciplinary action. Describing the litigation as frivolous, baseless, and unfounded, Justice Lifo invoked Sections 82 and 83 of the Electoral Act to penalize the petitioners, emphasizing that the plaintiffs lacked confidence in their own actions, leading them to unnecessarily involve the court in an internal party dispute. As a consequence of the suit, the court imposed a 10 million naira fine on the plaintiffs to be paid to Senator Kingibe. Additionally, the judge ordered the plaintiffs' counsel, Kolawole Oluwokere, to pay a separate 10 million naira fine to the senator for his role in filing the dismissed action. The People's Democratic Party in Plateau State says it remains strong and ready to reclaim power from the ruling APC in the 2027 general elections. This comes as the party continues its statewide mobilization tour across the 17 local government areas ahead of its primary elections scheduled for Sunday. Our correspondent Percy Dabang tells us more.
The PDP campaign train recorded massive turnout in several communities, especially in Mangu local government area, home of Governor Caleb Mutfwang, where supporters turned out in large numbers to welcome party leaders and aspirants.
The local government award.
Party officials insist the PDP remains popular despite recent political developments and defections to the APC. The chairman of the party in Jos South local government area believes the turnout shows that the party is still a major force in the state.
We're working stronger. The strategies are stronger. This time around, we have known what we did. We know where we're going to plus to win, to take over power. And I want to assure with every confidence, apart from the numbers, the strategies, we have confidence that come 2027, PDP is going to take over back her power.
The woman leader of the party in Jos South explains that women across the state have been mobilized to support the party's return to power.
We have seen what PDP have done for us, and we believe in PDP, and our people believe in PDP. So when we just go to the wall to tell the people, everything is intact.
Meanwhile, one of the PDP governorship aspirants highlights the essence of the tour across the 17 local government areas, which is aimed at engaging directly with the people in order to understand their challenges.
Democracy is supposed to be about the people, and that is the reason why I decided to go to the people, regardless of the fact that, yes, I am contesting under PDP and there are other contestants.
People on the plateau are in love with PDP, and PDP on the plateau can never die. And that's the truth. Now we have awakened the spirits of people, especially people are looking for options. We all know that PDP on the plateau are the ones that voted for the governor, and they are not happy that the governor left them. Imagine the people that have voted for the governor to have become a governor are still here in the party. They have not left. Again, with the aggrieved people that have been cheated based on the primaries that is going on the plateau coming together, let me tell you, I'm overwhelmed that before 12 o'clock, the day of election, they are going to declare PDP winner. I don't have any doubts about it.
As the party prepares for its primary elections on Sunday, political observers say the party's statewide tour may signal a fresh push to rebuild its support base ahead of the 2027 governorship race in Plateau State. Percy Dabang, Channels Television News.
As part of efforts to remove administrative barriers hindering the admission of students into colleges of education, the Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Colleges of Education, Mrs. Angela Ajala, has announced some sweeping reforms that will boost student admissions. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, Mrs. Ajala says qualified colleges of education can now award independent degree programs in addition to the National Certificate of Education without being affiliated to any university in the country.
The first is that NCC is shifting from compliance to development. We're shifting. So the questions now is not whether a college has complied on paper. The deeper question is whether teacher education is improving classroom realities for Nigerian children. Our second takeaway is the dual mandate. It is a historic reform. And qualified and matured colleges of education can now award simultaneously the NCE and the BA, never done before. And so we want that students that will choose colleges of education, they can see that no other tertiary institution is offering what we're offering. Thirdly, the curriculum is being rebuilt for today's world, and I've shared with you part of what that curriculum contains. Fourthly, admission pathways are under review, but our standards are non-negotiable. And so we are calling on state governments, governing councils, provosts, academic staff unions, development partners, traditional institutions, parents, organized private sector, and the media to support this reform direction.
Now to Oyo, where grief fills the church as mourning family members, loved ones, and colleagues all gathered to bid farewell to Mr. Joel Adesina, one of the teachers murdered by bandits during last week's attack on schools in the state. The burial ceremony was held at the Ayegun Baptist Church in Ogbomoso, where sympathizers paid their last respects to the teacher who died aged 49. Reports say that about 9:30 a.m. on April the 15th this year, gunmen who were said to be riding on motorcycles invaded the communities along the Ahoro Esiele Yawota axis in Oriri, Ogbomoso, abducting dozens of students and 7 teachers from the community high school, LA Primary School, and Yawota Baptist Nursery and Primary School. During that attack, Mr. Adesina, an assistant headmaster at the community high school in Ahoro Esiele, and a commercial motorcyclist were shot dead. The governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, confirmed that 7 teachers were abducted during the raid, while another teacher, Michael Oyedokun, was reportedly killed in captivity. Following the incident, the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, visited the scene and deployed additional detectives from the force headquarters in Abuja to collaborate with the Joint Security Team in ongoing rescue operations. The deployment, according to the police, was aimed at ensuring the safe rescue of the abducted teachers and students. The incident is said to have triggered widespread panic in Ogbomoso and surrounding communities, with many parents rushing to the schools to withdraw their children over fears of further attacks. So let's now head to the nation's capital, where Gloria Mezoke is standing by to give us the latest from our Abuja studios. Hello, Gloria.
Many thanks, Ariel. Well, here in the nation's capital, the federal government has launched a new set of medical equipment aimed at strengthening comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care services across Nigeria as part of efforts to reduce maternal and infant mortality. The intervention under the sector-wide approach SWAP initiative will see the distribution of critical medical equipment to health facilities in states across the country. Our correspondent, Victoria Longjohn, reports.
More than 2 years after the signing of the Health Sector Renewal Compact by President Bola Tinubu, state governors and development partners,
this morning we are gathered.
The federal government is rolling out a major intervention aimed at translating policy commitments into improved healthcare outcomes. The initiative under the sector-wide approach SWAP, backed by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency and development partners, sees the launch of medical equipment for comprehensive emergency obstetric and newborn care facilities to strengthen maternal and child healthcare services across Nigeria.
Equipment is now being provided worth nearly $200,000 per state, and nearly 250 secondary facilities across 30 states that these are going to will today receive equipment that will bridge critical service delivery gaps. This is proof that when we converge resources, align priorities, and move in one direction, we can deliver results that reverberate across the nation. It's not the first time that resources are being deployed to improve the quality of our health systems, but I think it would be accurate to say it's an unusual speed and level and scale of impact that we have seen over the last 3 years. As we distribute this equipment today, I want to emphasize that the infrastructure and equipment alone cannot save lives. Sustainable impact requires a more comprehensive set of efforts.
The national coordinator of SWAP explains that the equipment procurement followed consultations with states and development partners, with facilities selected based on identified gaps in emergency obstetric and newborn care services.
Our approach generally has been state-led, and so we have partnered with states to conduct joint assessments of nearly 630 CMOC facilities and identified some of the infrastructure or equipment needs, revealing an average readiness score of about 42%. And this has been the basis for identifying some of the CMOC infrastructure gap to get them to a state where the likes of NHIA can be comfortable to potentially empanel them.
The equipment are then launched.
To the glory of God and to the benefit of all of us in Nigeria.
For the federal government, the message is clear. Beyond policy pronouncements, the focus is now on measurable outcomes that improve survival rates and access to quality healthcare for Nigerians. From Abuja, Victoria Longjohn, Channels Television News.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, the cost of a healthy diet in Nigeria rises 12.4% as food inflation pressures persist. That's on Business News. Please join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. Now, youth leaders from across the 9 states of the Niger Delta have called for sustained security in the region, throwing their weight behind existing pipeline surveillance arrangements and warning against moves to decentralize the contracts. Our correspondent, Charles Oporum, reports from Port Harcourt.
They came representing the full breadth of Niger Delta ethnic nationalities. 9 states, one message. At the Niger Delta Ethnic Nationalities Youth Leaders Forum on Energy Security and Peace, the consensus was clear. The pipelines must be protected, and those agitating for a breakup of surveillance contracts must be resisted.
Amurobo, Ishekiri, Ogoni, Ikwere, Isoko, and all ethnic youth leaders present.
Opening the forum, Chairman Jonathan Lokobiri set the tone, calling for security across the region while taking direct aim at what he describes as a dangerous push to decentralize pipeline surveillance responsibilities.
I will leave here with a clear message that our unity is stronger than the power of individuals. And as a region, we will all be better off when we are united. And therefore, peace in the Niger Delta is dependent on the actions we take from today.
One of the most closely watched contributions came from the Ogoni representative, Legbosi Yamabana. He calls on the federal government to return to Ogoniland and resume oil production.
I want to call on the government that now that Tantita has done this good work in the Niger Delta, they cannot come on board to Ogoniland to resume the production of oil and gas operation. I believe it so. But not Ogoni. Because in this other area that we recommence, just like we are negotiating, there will not be pipeline sabotage.
Others present added their voices to the conversation.
What the youth needs is employment, development, empowerment, and training. Don't use election to bring problem in the Niger Delta region. We are ready to protect our region.
We are the true faces of our people. For all the pipeline security companies in our region, engage those that owns the land, and you will operate peacefully.
As the forum draws to a close, Chairman of the forum reads out a communique summarizing the group's collective positions.
The forum pledged to continue embracing dialogue, consultations, and lawful engagements rather than actions capable of threatening national peace, economic stability, and democratic processes within Nigeria.
The forum's message is straightforward. The communities of the Niger Delta are willing partners in securing the infrastructure that drives Nigeria's economy. But that partnership, they insist, must be built with Tantita Security Services Limited, who they say have shown inclusion, stability, and respect for the structures already working on the ground. Charles Oporum, Channels Television News.
To company news, Bua Cement PLC has announced a remarkable 34.6% increase in revenue, reaching 1.2 trillion naira for the financial year 2025, up from its 2024 revenue. This impressive growth was highlighted by the chairman, Alhaji Abdul Rabiu, at the company's 10th annual general meeting in Abuja. Mr. Rabiu says in spite of prevailing economic challenges, the company has demonstrated resilience with earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization surging 367% to 465.3 billion naira compared to 99.6 billion naira in 2024. Profit for the period rose to 356 billion naira in spite of escalating input costs. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
This is the 10th annual general meeting of Bua Cement PLC. In attendance is the founder and chairman of Bua Group, Mr. Abdul Rabiu, directors, management and staff, and shareholders. The meeting is to lay the report of the directors' statement of financial position as at 31 December 2025, together with a statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income for the year ended 31 December 2025.
Meaningful participation from our esteemed.
The founder and chairman of Bua Group highlighted some challenges faced and also attributed the company's success to its commitment to driving progress and delivering value.
Nigeria is still low in terms of cement consumption. A population of 240 million people, and we're only producing maybe 50 million tons. That is still low, in terms of per capita.
The chairman also reiterated the effort of the management to expand visibility of the company's products in the country.
We all know that we are trying really hard to make sure that, one, we are efficient and we penetrate the market. I'm very proud to have
a very solid, competent, and committed team. I really do everything possible to ensure that we are equal to the task.
He then moved a motion to adopt the recommendation of the directors and also approve the recommended dividend for shareholders for the close of business for the year 2025.
I hereby move that a gross dividend of 10 naira per ordinary share of 50 kobo each be paid to shareholders whose names appear in the company's register of members as at the close of business on the 8th May 2026.
As the AGM concludes, Boasman PLC is reiterating its commitment to supporting the federal government and Nigerians by aligning to infrastructure renewal and industrialization drive. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
Well, that's it from the nation's capital. It's back to you, Ayo, in Lagos.
Thank you so much, Gloria. Eco Hotels and Suites is celebrating the monumental milestone, 50 years of shaping Africa's hospitality landscape. To mark this achievement, the institution is hosting the Africa Legacy Summit, a two-day event showcasing 5 decades of impact on hospitality, culture, and global engagement across the continent. The event witnessed a dynamic mix of students, influencers, and industry leaders to chart the future of African hospitality and tourism. Our correspondent, Ewolua Ogunbodide, tells us more.
Rooted in community love and diversity,
a two-day event celebrating 50 years of successful contribution to hospitality in Africa. Day 2 of the African Legacy Summit brings together students, influencers, and business leaders to explore the future of hospitality, tourism, and culture in Africa. The theme, Reimagining the Future of Culture in African Hospitality, Tourism and Travel, begins with a welcome address by the president of TMD, Tourism and Hospitality Mentorship for Development Foundation.
Today is a statement of what becomes possible when young people become industry leaders and when institutions align with purpose.
Eco Hotel's general manager shares the hotel's passion for empowering the next generation of hospitality leaders in Africa.
People may forget the building, they may forget the food, but they will never forget how you made them feel. And that is hospitality. In hospitality, surviving 1 decade is difficult, but 5 decades, that's legacy.
Global thought leaders take the stage.
Danny talked about experience. It is the experience that people come to a country to look for.
When you see Nigeria and you see Africa, do you look forward to the day when, if you are in Ouagadougou, in Burkina Faso, there is an eco hotel, homes and suites.
And then a virtual message from the First Lady of Nigeria commending Eco Hotels for its impact and legacy.
From the days of the Eco Hotel Inn to Eco Meridian and now Eco Hotel PLC. 15 years. That is a golden anniversary celebration.
The dynamic panel sessions kicks off with topics centered on how local communities are shaping the future of hospitality and tourism in Africa.
We know that we have what it takes to rule not just the continent of Africa, but to rule the world. But all of this has to do with our intentionality to use tourism to drive this narrative. And how do we do it if we are not investing in mentorship and training of our youth?
I think that it all starts with the academic environment where we all started our lives from.
Mentorship may not be formal. You pick it up. It may be by chance.
From Yaba College of Technology.
Outstanding students in hospitality have been honored with awards and cash prizes, recognizing their excellence. As Eco Hotels and Suites marks 50 years, it's not just celebrating a milestone, it's turning this moment into a catalyst for lasting impact, continuing to shape hospitality, culture, and global engagement in Africa. Ewaoluwa Ogunbodede, Channels Television News.
Dignitaries, clerics, alumni and well-wishers gathered at Madonna University Elele in Rivers State to celebrate the 50th priestly ordination anniversary of the Chancellor and founder of Madonna University, Caritas University and Osisatec Polytechnic, the Very Reverend Father Emmanuel Ede, as well as 9 other priests who were ordained alongside him in 1976. The celebration featured a symposium, groundbreaking ceremony for a personal museum, Thanksgiving Mass and reception in honor of the Catholic priest, educationist and entrepreneur. Our correspondent, Deborah Miefi-Beresima, tells us more.
That's good.
The day begins with a groundbreaking ceremony for a personal museum expected to preserve the life, achievements and legacy of the Catholic priest and founder of Nigeria's first Catholic university, Madonna University, established in 1999. Born on May the 20th, 1947 in Akbugu, Nkano West local government area of Enugu State, Father Ede has combined priesthood with investments in education and human capital development. Special Thanksgiving Mass, where the presiding priest preaches on the need for individuals to build legacies that would outlive them.
Making it possible a desire to be good servants like the Son, faithful to your covenant, and working for the salvation of all.
The event later shifts to a reception held in honor of Father Ede and 6 other priests ordained alongside him 50 years ago. Guests take turns to speak on the sterling qualities of the Catholic priest.
You are safe where you are today because we don't have any politicians wielding guns here. We don't have Ndiotimbu occupying the space that citizens and people of God should occupy. And that says something about our jubilarians. This is the biggest takeaway. Set your ministry right. Don't allow anybody to distract you.
The National Universities Commission is not only a regulator of university education in Nigeria, but also your partner in the wheel of progress. Whatever I am today.
High points of the reception was the unveiling of the book Golden Legacy of Priesthood Epitomized in Service, a book that chronicles the life and works of Reverend Father Professor Emmanuel Ede.
I unveil it in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Father was a father to us, and he was our tough father. To the people in school now, he's like their grandfather. You know how it goes. Your father is strict. But when they see their grandchildren, they are soft.
He believes in education, that's the only tool he can use to empower this generation and the next generation, and he has been doing it. And currently, we have graduated over 120,000 graduates from Madonna University who are doing amazingly well all over the world.
For many, the Golden Jubilee is not just a reflection on 50 years of priesthood, but a celebration of a lifetime devoted to faith, education, and service to humanity. Deborah Miefi-Beresima, Channels Television News.
It's time now for some business news.
Thank you, Ayo. Well, the average daily cost of maintaining a healthy diet in Nigeria has climbed year on year from 1,346 naira to 1,513 naira per adult in February. And this is according to the latest report by the National Bureau of Statistics. The report shows that the figure also increased month on month, reflecting continued pressure from rising food prices across the country. Compared to February 2025, the cost highlights a worsening affordability gap as households spend more to meet basic nutritional requirements. And now we'll check in with the domestic equities market, which ended today's session positive as investors tracked Boa Cement. John McGuire tells us more.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Stock Market Report. It's a recovery we have from yesterday's drop. Today, investors brought in 256 billion naira to the market, and that raised the all-share index up 0.22%. We haven't recovered at the 250,000 level, but we are 249,712.37. The market cap, after bringing that 259, is at 159.967 trillion naira. The sectors did good today. We see sector banking, for instance, is up 0.25%. First whole core, we know that they're preparing for the dividends and all, and that's driving sentiment towards it. Consumer goods is also up 0.28%. Honeywell Flour is a major contributor to that, as well as Nigerian breweries. Oil and gas also, even though also did catch some positive attention today. So oil and gas is up. And then the major driver of this green sentiment is Boa Cement. The 10 naira dividend that they just paid to shareholders is still in the air, and is a good air for them. So today they close at 420 naira today, after they gained 6 naira on their share. So we enter the weekend with the bull.
Thank you, Ini. A good way to end the hustle and bustle. But let's check the closing numbers for other major stock markets now. And that's business news, and Willie Bank is back to you now.
Many thanks, Will. Let's head to our London studios now with Simon Pusey and Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. President Donald Trump says the US will send an extra 5,000 troops to Poland a week after the Pentagon cancelled a planned deployment of 4,000 troops to the country. Writing on social media, Trump said the decision was based on the US's relationship with the Polish president, Karol Nawrocki, whom he backed during presidential elections last year and who is a long-time supporter of his. Trump did not elaborate on whether the additional troops were part of the previous planned deployment or a different operation. The NATO Secretary-General welcomed the move ahead of a meeting of foreign ministers in Sweden. Mark Rutte told reporters the trajectory towards Europe becoming less reliant on the US will continue.
Let's be clear. The trajectory we are on, which is a stronger Europe and a stronger NATO, making sure we will, over time, step by step, be less reliant on one ally only, as we have been for so long, which is the United States.
Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has said Cuba poses a national security threat to the US, and the likelihood of a peaceful arrangement is not high. His comments come just a day after the US charged Cuba's former President Raul Castro with murder over the 1996 downing of 2 planes, resulting in the killing of US nationals. Rubio said Washington's preference was a diplomatic solution, but warned that President Donald Trump had the right and obligation to protect his country against any threat. Cuba's foreign minister, Bruno Rodriguez, accused Rubio of lies and said the island had never posed a threat to the U.S.
Cuba not only has weapons that they've acquired from Russia and China over the years, but they also host Russia and Chinese intelligence presence in their country, not far from where we're standing right now. So Cuba has always posed a national security threat to the United States. They, by the way, have been one of the leading sponsors of terrorism in the entire region. You look at the groups that work out of Colombia that have destabilized that country over the years, with full support from this regime over there.
An angry crowd has set alight a section of a hospital at the epicenter of the Ebola outbreak in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, after family and friends of a young man thought to have died from the virus were prevented from taking his body away for burial. In the chaos, police fired warning shots to disperse the crowd. The body of a dead Ebola victim is highly infectious, and the authorities need to ensure safe burial to stop the spread of the virus. Meanwhile, next week's India-Africa Forum Summit has been cancelled due to the Ebola crisis. The fourth edition of the summit, which fosters diplomatic interactions between India and the countries of the African continent, was sent to be held in Delhi from the 28th to the 31st of May. Scientists at Oxford University are developing a new vaccine that could be ready for clinical trials within 2 to 3 months to help tackle the Ebola emergency. The outbreak, centered on the Democratic Republic of Congo, has resulted in 750 suspected cases and 177 deaths. The rare species of Ebola, for which there is no proven vaccine, kills around a third of those infected. There are no guarantees the vaccine will prove effective, and it will take animal research and trials on people to know if it will be. Hundreds of Greenlanders gathered outside a new American consulate in the capital, Nuuk, on Friday to protest against Donald Trump's ambition for greater influence over the island. The protest capped a week in which US President Special Envoy to Greenland, Jeff Landry, made his first trip to the territory. The inauguration of the new consulate and Landry's visit come amid efforts to ease diplomatic tensions after the US President's demand to take the island by force because of national security concerns.
Alberta's future will be decided by Albertans.
Alberta will hold a referendum on whether the province should remain in Canada or move ahead with a second binding vote on separation, marking the first significant test of the country's unity in decades. The announcement by Premier Danielle Smith comes after a citizen-led petition calling for separation gathered more than 300,000 signatures earlier this year, and a separate petition advocating that Alberta stay gathered more than 400,000. A restive independence movement has been growing in the oil-rich province, built on a long-held sense that Alberta is overlooked by decision-makers in Ottawa. And Paris's oldest bridge has been transformed overnight into a giant inflatable cave structure. The 17th century Pont Neuf Bridge is a familiar landmark spanning the River Seine, but was left almost unrecognizable to Parisians. Titled La Caverne, or The Cave, it was created by French artist Jean Reyne, better known by his pseudonym J.R. It's the latest in a series of large-scale art installations across the city, measuring 120 metres in length and ranging from 12 to 18 metres high. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Welcome to Sports News. Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola says he fears he would run out of the energy required to lead Manchester City after announcing his glittering 10-year tenure as manager is coming to an end at the Etihad. After amassing 20 trophies, including 6 Premier League titles and the club's first Champions League, Guardiola admits City needs a new manager and new energy. That's sports. Says back to you, Ayo.
And the main news again. The APC today unveiled guidelines and committees for its 2026 presidential primaries, and the party also agreed to adopt direct primary mode. That's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayo Tunde Balukun. You have a good night.